Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to share with you my response to a comment from the audience, which is critical, which is challenging, which is pushing back on my thesis around what the game's future looks like and the token valuation for SPS might eventually become. And it's the best sort of comment because it's critical, but it's also constructive and there's room for a meaningful conversation. So I hope you stick around with me. If that sounds interesting, you know what to do. Okay, the first thing is I want to say that there's too many comments. You guys are amazing. Sometimes we get 50, 60 comments on a single video. In fact, over the last 2 weeks, that's happened 3 times. And so it's too much to keep track of everything, but I go through as often as I can. Today I spent time in the comment section and I found an amazing comment on this video, SPS Reform and the Bull Case, from My Financial Journey. In this video, first of all, I talked about how there might be a pathway for editing or changing how SPS even operates, the tokenization of it. Maybe there's a burning of SPS. Maybe there's a burn mechanism where we can spend tokens in exchange for glint or in exchange for cards or in exchange for skins, whatever the case may be. Several ideas were talked about in this video. If you want to check it out, I'll link it in the description. Maybe I'll put a card up. But the point is, this was an interesting sort of bull case argument for where Splinterlands could go and why I feel confident about what Splinterlands is and where the tokens might reach in the future. Part of that is definitely my confidence in what the team has done and where they're aiming and my confidence in their ability to execute that. But also a big piece of that is the probability that we are sitting in an altcoin, the beginnings of an altcoin bull market. Now, I don't know that to be true and it might not be, but I mean, Bitcoin keeps persisting. It almost touched 65,000. That'll be another leg up maybe. That'll be like a mark that really allows things to move forward. I'm not looking for Bitcoin to make any sort of major moves, but I am waiting for some altcoin stuff to happen. Not 1, 2, 3%, 20, 30, 40% in a day. It's happened in the past and I think it could happen again. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm saying this possibility for me is on the table. And with that in mind, combined with my perspective and my outlook on what Splinterlands is, I have a greater degree of confidence in the game. That was my conversation that I had in that video in general. And then we get this comment from My Financial Journey saying, unfortunately, even if SPS 40x's from where it sits right now, I will still not be able to recover my investment into the game. And sadly, there are probably dozens, if not hundreds of people in the ecosystem that are in my exact same shoes. I've earned much more SPS in 3 months off Golem Overlord than I have earned in Splinterlands itself over 2 years, with a fraction of the investment of the money or time and attention. Okay. There's so much I want to say to him, and I should probably read the fullness of my reply, but I want to add to it. I'm not just going to read exactly what I've said and leave it at that. I want to expand on the conversation. But I said, do you seek Splinterlands for reward or a combination of fun and reward? I talk about that all the time, right, guys? I say, is this game fun and rewarding? Do you think it's, it's fun and it has a future? I talk about how, there's trivial rewards, but that they add up meaningfully across time due to your investment of time and attention. And that if there's a bull market for Splinterlands, that those assets you've accumulated across time, those daily trivial rewards could multiply meaningfully in a way that would give you a retroactive raise. I've said this so many times, and yet it feels as though we have this conversation repeatedly where it hasn't earned me anything today. And so I'm going to say down here, well, first of all, I'm pointing My Financial Journey to that starting point. It's got to be fun and rewarding, or you're not going to stick around. It's got to be fun and rewarding, or you're going to have the wrong idea about what you're earning. It's either a game that might give you a financial benefit or it's a investment. And it seems as though My Financial Journey is maybe feeling more the investment side. He says the word investment. He talks about the finances. He talks about how much he's lost, quote unquote. He maybe doesn't say that word, does he? But he talks about an inability to recover that investment. And he's not wrong about this piece where he says probably lots of people are in the same shoes. Sure. Many people came in during Chaos Legion and they are underwater on their cards unless something significant happened, right? I have friends who got some amazing gold foils, various airdrops, and they are sitting prettier than some of you who didn't get those things. And they aren't necessarily gigantic whales either. And so that opportunity existed, yet it's true that most are going to be underwater on their card assets if they came in during Chaos Legion. It's also true that if you bought SPS up until let's say 3 weeks ago, you're underwater because the price has been much higher in the previous months and years. And so when we talk about most of what his sentiment or the statement is, it's just a fact. It's not a debate. It's just true. But the undertone of investment versus game is my first point of critique, because he's not really speaking about it as if it's a game until he gets down in here and he starts talking about, I've earned more SPS in 3 months off Golem Overlord than I've earned in Splinterlands itself over the past 2 years with a fraction of investment of money or time and attention. And see, that points me back to, I don't really think you're playing it like a game. Like, what the question to me is, aren't you enjoying your time with Splinterlands? I think the answer is a no. I wonder, and I'd love it if you drop me a comment on this video, but I think the answer is probably no, you're not. It seems as though you're not enjoying Splinterlands. And how can anyone formulate sort of a long-standing, let's say, multi-year vision for how they're going to invest in something when they don't even enjoy the process, particularly where it requires a daily commitment of time and effort? Because a blockchain game that gives rewards is going to require your time and effort. Even Golem Overlord, which is relatively just click, 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 claim. I still play Golem Overlord, by the way. And so I'm also earning with it. But I've been playing that since almost its inception. And I'm earning like 50 cents a day or $1 a day. And I put in a couple $100. So that's probably more than most in Golem Overlord. I'm in there daily looking at Golem Overlord. And my point here is, if I'm earning 50 cents or $1 a day, for you to be earning more within the context of Golem Overlord than you are in Splinterlands, you must not have purchased an SPS bag, a meaningful SPS bag. Plus, that combined with you saying 40x wouldn't put you above water on your investment, either you went huge on cards or you went real small on SPS. And so that's a side conversation, but it's relevant to this idea of, I'm claiming the game Splinterlands is fun and rewarding, and so I need to defend both. That I find it entertaining. I still do. Today I found 2 amazing games that I really, really enjoyed. This is one of my battles. I really enjoy Skok Dustblight with the Riftwing and the Will-O-Wisp. So many hit points with the Scavenge on the Riftwing too. I don't want to make this a battle video, but just I'm saying I really, really, really am having so much fun with this right now. And there was another video here earlier. The strategy of using camos with my martyr, I just don't see other people doing that. Like double camo with the martyr. Anyways, this is not a battle video. But I want you to see how close and how quick and how easy my enjoyment of this game comes in a conversation about Splinterlands. It's not, hey, look at how much money I'm making, or how much I can make, or how much you can make, or here's the ROI. Here's this fun game that I enjoy and have for years, with an opportunity, and maybe you just might say some potential to receive or provide financial reward. Those are totally different conversations. Either it's an investment or it's a piece of entertainment that can provide a return. And I would say it's the latter. That's so core to the conversation, because the language you're using points toward a real abandonment or ignoring of the entertainment side. If it's a game, you should enjoy it for its own sake. If it's a game, putting money into it without a certain return should be worth something to you. And then finally, I think I said all that within these first 2 sentences, but I finish with something that I think is really important to finish on. And this will be the last point we make in the video, or at least the last thread. I said, and then only after the next altcoin market can you truly answer the question if you've made money or not, right? Now, if we don't benefit from the next altcoin market, which may or may not be ongoing, then I'd agree the profit chance is far less likely in the future, moving beyond that. But do you see the point being, if this is an altcoin bull market waiting to happen, and to me, with the analysts that I watch, and probably you watch, it seems like we could be on the precipice of something. Is that not the general consensus? I would argue it is. Bitcoin is still pushing, and maybe if it gets big, they say above 65,000, that's really a big marker. But forget about Bitcoin, because in my opinion, the return on that in this moment would be less exciting than some of the altcoins, as we see that 59%, Bitcoin dominance swing lower during a generalized altcoin bull market. That would be the presumption that I'm working with, that I'm living under. I could be mistaken. But if that's about to happen, we ought to at least wait and see how that impacts Splinterlands assets. And in my opinion, I've already seen some preliminary evidence that it is already impacting Splinterlands. I talked the other day about how my Splinterlands card assets are up. I talked about how alpha cards are booming. And then also we look at the thriving investment within the community. There's only 5,000 probably real human players playing the game right now. And yeah, that's small. But the suggestion that it can't grow or that there's no one spending is just wrong. This is like this idea or this implied suggestion that there's no room for a bull market within Splinterlands because no one's spending. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, people spent 113 million DEC on 2 cards that many people thought were underwhelming. Zero cost legendary that gets buffed when you have fiends, and the other one I don't even remember. It was like I didn't care about it. And so the phase 1 cards sold $100,000 worth of assets. 113 million DC divided by 1,000 equals 113,000. And so at PEG, we'd be talking 113,000. If we go ahead and go by 80% of that, we're at 90,000. 80% of that because SPS DC is actually at 800 Splitoshis. And so to say that the game's, that there's no room for growth here just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, clearly people are putting money into this game. People are enjoying this game. I saw a video the other day, I think it was Aftersound, shout out to Aftersound. He was talking about how much the big dogs are making, and he was doing the math, and without tournaments, it's like $400, I think, a month. And so, yeah, they have big investments. They bought a lot of cards, and you could go on it. They have huge SPS bags, etc. I know, guys, it costs money to play this game. And some of you don't want to put any more money into it, and you feel like your rewards haven't come yet and it never will. But the suggestion, not just from my financial journey, but from many, is this idea that it hasn't happened yet, and so it will never happen. And I go, are we looking at the same market? Because if there's room in your mind for a generalized altcoin market in the next few weeks or months, do you or do you not think that there's some chance that touches Splinterlands? To me, that's, if there's an altcoin market, it will touch Splinterlands. And so it makes no sense to come at Splinterlands in this moment without holding on to that piece. Because any analysis of the performance of Splinterlands and the investment, the quote unquote investment and the returns are not being measured in a fair and reasonable manner if you don't understand things from bull market to bull market. At every moment, Bitcoin is below its all-time high until it's in a bull market. At every moment, your favorite token is in that same reality. And so either Splinterlands is going to enjoy the next bull market or it isn't. But to say in this moment, before any generalized altcoin market has happened, that Splinterlands cannot produce a return for you seems nonsensical to me. And that's why it's like, let's wait and see what happens during this altcoin market that may be building beginning right now. If this altcoin market doesn't benefit Splinterlands, then let's roll over. But I go, look at what's happening even here. Look at what's happening with alpha cards. Look at what's happening with, I don't know, man, the excitement around look at Splinterland's YouTube channel and the viewership on the lives lately. Like there's a growing number of indications, and I think many of you feel so burned about what's happened in the last 2 years. The amount of salt that's coming, and that's okay. Keep it coming because your comments help the channel. But man, I'm blown away by, let's say, the perspective, because either you've listened, you've been here with the channel, and I've talked almost nonstop about how There's trivial rewards that add up over time and that might provide you a retroactive raise once those tokens boom. And if those tokens never boom or they don't boom in the next sort of bull market for altcoins, let's talk about where Splinterlands is going. I'll talk about where Splinterlands is going. But until that market comes and goes and let's say misses or hits Splinterlands, I feel like there's nothing to be said except, what are you on about in this moment saying it can't provide a return for you? And forget about SPS. First of all, SPS, 40x, that would be like 30 cents or something. Yes, that would be huge. And I'm not calling for 30 cents. I'm just saying, man, if that happens in SPS, you think you're not going to see gains on your cards? You think it's going to be isolated to the token? You think it's not going to cause your card account, which I assume is large, either you're, like I said earlier, for you to be underwater at this moment on a 40x, on a theoretical 40x would mean you either have a huge card deck or a really small SPS bag. Either way, whatever formulation of assets in the space you have, if SPS booms, you will see card accumulation. You will see crazy new player base growth because they'll be chasing after the token within the battle mechanic. And so in order to do that, they'll buy more SPS. That's a self-fulfilling life cycle for the token valuation. They'll buy cards because they need to compete for the SPS because they want to win that crazy money when it's worth 10 cents, 5 cents, 20 cents, whatever number you want to imagine. And so we talked recently too, I don't want to go on and on about this, but man, the card market and these limited values that are available out here, even cards like Harklaw, which is a crazy issued reward card. There's 28 cards in the marketplace. There's 28 cards on what? So these cards would get eaten so fast. This floor would get eaten so fast that the prices would spike dramatically. And I know more liquidity would come. That's what happens in markets. But we would rapidly go from 66 cents on important cards like Carnage Titan that have 18 BCX, all the way up to, where does Carnage Titan go? Carnage Titan goes, even on the first page, up to $5 a BCX. And so, yeah, that's it. Actually, that's the expensive one. And so I don't know that that's happening tomorrow. I don't know that the altcoin market will hit Splinterlands. I don't know that this game will survive. I just know that I'm enjoying it and I've enjoyed it for 6 years. And the nonsense about how it hasn't gone yet and so it'll never go is just such sentiment driven. There's no other word for it. And so I really do appreciate your conversation, My Financial Journey. I really do. If any of this felt like it was harsh or, let's say negative towards you, not meant it that way. But it's like this the but comes in like, it's not just you with this viewpoint. It's so many people. And I go, haven't I talked about this for 3 years? I feel like I'm hitting my head against the wall, not with you specifically. That's why I covered your comment. Your comment's great. But with the let's say the broader sentiment. And I go, we've just been through this. Either the next altcoin market, which might be right now, hits Splinterlands or it doesn't. If it doesn't, let's talk. That might really mean, nope, we missed it. Something, I don't know, it's dead, or like something changes in that moment in my mind. But I bet, in fact, I'm betting with like $25,000 worth of assets probably, that we are going to enjoy that reward. You might disagree, and that's cool. The great thing about Splinterlands is anybody who has assets can liquidate those assets at any moment. Not just you, my financial journey. Now I'm talking to that broad sort of bear community. It just doesn't make much sense in my mind at all-time lows to be looking for that. But that's exactly why the masses are looking for that, because it's sentiment driven. And that's what happens when things are their worst. The complaints get the worst. As SPS has been ticking up, things start getting sweeter and kinder and more exciting. And it has been ticking up. It was at 0.4 of a penny and now it's at 0.8 of a penny. And so I don't know. It's okay if you don't agree with me, but that's my viewpoint. Optimistic, excited, confident, within reason, and until such time the objective information in front of me changes. And I am betting with all of this money $18,000 worth of Splinterlands card assets that I own, 300,000 SPS that I own, 35 or 30 plots of land that I own that are equipped with, you know, hundreds of thousands of DC and card assets that I could, right? This is a big bet. This is where my confidence lies. You can disagree with me, but this is where my chips are. Thanks, guys. I hope you're having an amazing day. And my financial journey, you're awesome. No hard feelings. Hope you enjoy the content. Have an amazing day. God bless.